1 or 2 Psychology 101, does anyone know what this is? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I use this all the time. Really, I do. Usually my first couple minutes of any interaction with a kid or a family, I use this. Because if I have a family who come into me and I want to sit and talk about Johnny's self-regulation skills, but you know what? They slept in a car last night. They really don't care about Johnny's self-regulation skills. They're trying to figure out where they're going to sleep and eat the next night. So if you can't address this, basic needs first, food, drink, shelter, all those things, and then security, safety, protection, stability. If I can't get these things to you, if they don't have these, if they're not feeling this, if they're not present, all this stuff ain't going to happen. You think about it as upward. You have to start here, 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 and up to there. It just flows that way. And the simplest thing is, look, if you're really, again, go back to if you're really, really tired, are you going to sit there and listen to a lecture? No. If you're really, really hungry, you don't pay attention. If you really, really got to pee, you're thinking, I got to pee. I got to get out of here. You're not thinking about what I'm talking about. You're thinking about, again, if you've got a grocery list tonight, you're probably going, I'm thinking about a grocery list and not what Jeff talks about. It's all about hierarchy of needs, and that's how it works. We're wired that way, folks. So when we're dealing with kids did he just get off the phone and found out his mom lost her job? If that's what he's talking about, and you want to say, we need to talk about your behaviors earlier, they're not going to talk about their behaviors earlier because they're worried about where their mom's going to get food to feed their 4 brothers and sisters at home. So use that. So when you approach a kid, just kind of feel them out where they are. What's going on? You just got off with your phone with your mom. How did that go? Tell me about it. And then move through the progression as we know we can. Okay. So just a couple more tidbits. Listen, and I know people say, I'm a good listener. Okay, you know what the research says? We suck at listening. In fact, we hear about 10%, we remember about 10% of everything we hear. That's about it. That's sad, isn't it? But we retain about 80 to 90% of everything we teach. So when we're working with kids, it's not so much what again, our listening and their listening, but the more we can teach to kids, the more we get it, the more we can get them to teach back or teach to other kids, the more they get it. So listening is tough, and it's tough for us too, because the reality is you can only hear so much too. And it can be one little thing that the kid said, and you're going back to your grocery list for the night. So just that's our weaknesses. Be aware of what our weaknesses, and we work with them. Allow choices with these kids. If they don't have an out, they feel trapped. And when you feel trapped, you get defensive. And when you get defensive, you're not good. I'm not good when I'm defensive. No one is. So we want to give them an out. Okay, right now at this moment, you can't talk about, okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, but you're going to come back and check in with me, and we'll see how you're doing that and deal with it. Again, every situation is different, but you want to give them an out and not put them in a place where they have no out. So again, empathy is not an endorsement, but you can understand that, look, yeah, your situation's horrible. You've just got in trouble. Your court counselor's coming to see you tomorrow. He may violate your probation. And you can empathize with them, not saying it was okay what you did. I understand why you're hating your situation because it's not great. So allow that to happen. And we kind of talked about the relationship thing already. So again, this is kind of following up on stuff we talked about, understanding the developmental processes, understanding it, teaching accountability rather than holding them accountable, elicit from them the motivation for change rather than telling, change wants to be internal ultimately. It has to start external, that's okay, but ultimately we want to get it internal. And again, how do we know kids are ready for change? They may come in and they don't want to change. I like who I am. Screw you. So you trying to get into an argument for change is just another adult. You become Charlie Brown's teacher, right? Wow, wow, wow. If you see that, you're wrestling, you're not dancing. Dance, don't wrestle. Dance, don't wrestle. And do ready. Sometimes I'll ask a kid, I'll ask them, okay, I'm going to ask you a 5-point scale, okay? And I'm going to cover, are you ready for it? Are you willing to do it? And do you have the ability to do it? Because those things aren't synonymous. They may want to change. They may be ready to change. But they don't have the skills or the ability to do it. And they don't know how to do it. So if they're a 4, a 3, and a 1, at least I know where to go. Now I know where to go. Their ability. We've got to work on that. Or they may have the ability. They may be ready, but they're not willing. Okay, then, so it gives you kind of direction where to go with them. A friend of mine used to say all the time, kids do well if they can. And I do believe that. Kids don't get up out of bed and say, hey, you know what? I think my day will be perfect if I can get at least 2 adults so pissed off that snot's coming out of their nose and slobber out of their mouth and they're screaming and yelling. No kid gets out of bed thinking that. Do they get that after breakfast? Sometimes, but they don't start that way. So they do well if they can.